Baker is on Ms. Yolanda Sims.
Thank you for having me, and I'd like, first of all, my name is Chris Baker at 2310 Winchester Road.
Welcome, sir.
Speak louder.
And I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting this cause. I'm a barber in Huntsville. I've been here for 30 years, and during this time, we've had countless conversations in our shop about unprovoked traffic stops in our community in District 1, and not only District 1, but throughout the community. And a couple of weeks ago, a young lady came to my shop and we were just casually talking. She was a new client and we were having a talk, and she told me that she was pulled over by Huntsville Police Department, and she was coming out of a neighborhood, and she was pulled over just to be questioned about why she was coming out of the neighborhood. And so she asked the officer, why was I being pulled over? And that led to her being beat, dragged, and being charged with resisting arrest. And she was a graduate of Alabama State, and she also was retired from the IRS. But I want to share an experience to people here at the City Council about one of the encounters I had with the police when I was 25 years old. To make it, to try to speed it up, what happened was I was followed by the police on Sparkman Drive. I was coming down Sparkman Drive, headed to the Parkway. I seen two officers. They were side by side having a conversation. So as we do as young black men, we look down to see if they have any reason to pull us over. So I kept going. The officers didn't get behind me. So when I got to the Parkway, I headed north on the Parkway. No officer was behind me. So when I got to North Parkway, one officer pulled up beside me, and I looked at him. He glanced at me. So we drove on off. And so he was kind of driving slow to see what I was going to do, so I wouldn't do anything, so I kept driving. So as I got to where A&M Stadium is today, the other officer pulled up behind him, and I was like, oh, they're going to pull me over. So as I kept going, I crossed Winchester Road, and as soon as I passed that, the officers put the lights on me. So I heard the officer get out the car, and the first thing I heard him say is that he's like, oh, he's a black guy, he's not white. So the officer asked for my ID, so I gave him my ID. And so I said, officer, can you tell me why you pulled me over? He said, well, it's been a report that a white guy has been going around breaking houses in a red convertible Mustang. And I was like, I said, okay. And he said, do you know any white guys with a red convertible Mustang? And I was like, no, and I'm pretty sure that a person with a red convertible Mustang would be going around breaking houses. And he was like, okay, well, thank you. He said, well, next time the officer pulls you over, he said, just raise your hand up and just let them know what color you are. And I was like, oh, okay. But I just said that to say this is the kind of experiences that we endure in our communities all the time. And sometimes that's what leads to illegal searches, being charged with resisting arrest, or like we seen recently, the death of our young men in our communities or women in our communities. And so my question is to the City Council, what are you prepared to do about these incidents in our communities?
Thank you.